Chapter 2. This wasn't the best first impression I imagined with the Italian hunters group, the cacciatori, that I was praying for. But I suppose we should have just counted our blessings that we were alive and that somehow a revived but shaken pilot was able to land the Charger at all. Only the bottom of the tail scraped down as it decided to break and fall on the final part of the landing. Seriously, how embarrassing. Now we really did look like blasted idiotic Americani. Jeremy hopped from our no longer joyride first, offering his hand to me in a prince-like fashion. My eyebrow arched on instinct. I had no desire to ask for his help. Plus, I was a modern kick-ass and take-names woman. But he inclined his head ever so slightly to get me to notice that the small mob of crisply dressed Europeans were eyeing us with stern curiosity, and I knew how important chivalry was to this area. I stifled my groan and allowed Prince Dick-in-a-Can to help me out of the chopper. His hand was slimy and oddly moist, but then I remembered the delightful shower we received free from our monstrum foe. More to add to the embarrassment board. I wanted a bath ASAP. We glided over to the woman who had addressed us first on the cliff's edge. Her eyes were covered by dark sunglasses. In fact, all of the agents here had dark sunglasses, even though it was night. Interesting fashion choice. Benvenuto, fellow cacciatori from across the pond. I am Chief Azure Sangyu, elite agent rank for the Italian divisions of the Hunters. My team and I are in charge of this investigation, and I am the ambassador for you for this collaboration of interest. Her hand extended, and by horny instinct, Jeremy reached for it and gave it an elegant-looking kiss, his eyes peering over her hand to gaze into her pools with warm affection.
Buonasera, mia signora. I'm Jeremy Darrington, happy to help in any manner you and your well-formed team need and desire.
The look she gave him was a mix of annoyance and confusion, but she still held herself tall and proud, her poker face giving nothing away to the untrained eye. I am afraid I don't know your name, Mr. Darrington, but your flattery will not go unobserved. She slid her hand out of his grasp in one slick motion and then placed it in my line of sight. You must be a Velda Hemingway. A pleasure. Your reputation as a top agent is globally known. However, I am surprised someone of your status would be tardy. Wow. It was like she and Chief were cut from the same cloth. The Hunters must have a type for their bosses. I shook her hand. Thank you for having us. I wish it was under different circumstances. She nodded, her thick jet-black hair bobbing around her shoulders in lush curly waves. See, but it's in our line of work, as you are well aware. She stepped sideways a bit for us to get a better view of all that was happening. We have agents tracking footprints, organizing notes from the eyewitnesses we talked to earlier, looking for any supernatural traces, getting samples, and, of course, we will have to deal with the bodies after that. The hustle and bustle of the 23 agents, I counted, so there really was 24, including Chief Azure, distracted me from the white chalk lines and the face-down figures that were once healthy, thriving people, eternally sleeping inside them. A lump caught in my throat, and I swallowed hard. This part never got any easier.
Where does my boy Kessler need to go? He's a damn good analyst that can help your crew with no problem.
A new voice entered our conversation cluster. Galen emerged from behind, a snarky shark who wants to rip your head off grin stapled on his face. He dragged a ghost-white and trembling Kessler towards us, Galen squeezing my lemon drop's tiny shoulders tightly so he wouldn't collapse on us. "Your boy looks green," Chief Azure stated incredulously, her mouth showing she was not impressed, but maybe had a bit of empathy for him. The encounter with the Cetus was pretty intense for all of us. I wrapped my arms around Kessler to try to stand him to a fuller height when Galen handed him off to me, but he swayed and glued his eyes shut. "But I promise, give him some numbers to crunch and data to filter, and he will show you some amazing stuff." I beamed at the cacciatore chief, trying to sound convincing, but Kessler's knees buckled on him, and we both almost went down. I caught him a foot from the rocks. Jack the short stack swooped in and helped me brace Kessler, sandwiching him between us as we smiled like morons, trying to act normal.
This boy has got it. And I can tell you know talent when you see it. He'll shake it off, to quote my girl T-Swift.
Chief Azure emotionlessly pointed to a group of 3 suited people not much older than me, sitting on a stone stair-step that led to a telescope on the far left of us. Galen didn't waste any time and bounded over there with Kessler pinned to our side. I watched anxiously for a second, a nervous parent observing their child's first day walking into preschool, but the chief's voice drove me back into the reality I was here to solve. "Let's go ahead and begin our rundown of what we discovered about this malicious Lamia." The chief zoomed forward, the clicking of her combat heels our only guide in the clouded darkness. The white of the Bari cliff shone in the twilight, reflecting the light of the dazzling and distant fairy lights, glossy like the finish of a pearl. The smooth surface of the compacted rocks below our feet gave this place a mystical feel. Past the west side, the glittering of night lights from the restaurant Kessler mentioned flickered like dancing fireflies, but the place was dead silent, calm, but tense all at once. This place that thrives at all hours of the precious day life grants them was now frozen in shock. It was heartbreaking to know that some lost their lives for it, just trying to absorb its sweet juices. On the right side primarily, 16 chalk outlines littered the natural beauty of the cliffs, like a sadistic graffiti project. Sacred humans now reduced to lines on the ground, broken dreams, and destroyed memories, captured futures. All because of a damned creature of the night. It made my heart freeze over and my blood boil. "We have 16 casualties of the attack, ages 15 to 35, mostly women. There was a party at the restaurant you can see over in the distance, and some college-age young people decided to bring some kegs over to this picturesque area. Some of the other members of the party joining them. It was estimated that about 40 people were here. At 11:32 p.m., emerging from the foaming sea below according to witnesses' reports, a man in black clothing and with a matching cape appeared suddenly." Flashbacks of my encounter with this described being slammed into my brain, making my head feel crowded and the sounds I knew I should be listening to muffled. I squeaked out my confirmation. "Did this man have swirling red eyes and appeared to have a broken neck that should not be natural to survive?"